Two fronts, one wallet. Your habits versus the system. We'll show what really moves the needle. Setbacks that add up, stealthy devices sipping power, leaks you can't hear, and the cheap tube of caulk that beats a 15K window splurge. Then we stress test big upgrades with real trade-offs and the tax credits that may shorten payback. Finally, we decode TOU traps and end with a simple truth. Control what you can, understand what you can't. Ready to beat the bill?
Subscribe, ring the bell, and drop your favorite recipe below.
Okay, if you live anywhere in the U.S., you probably know that feeling, that dread when the summer utility bill finally hits your inbox.
Oh, yeah.
You're cranking the AC because it's boiling outside, maybe 105 degrees, and then, bam, the bill arrives. It's like a digital gut punch.
It really is. And the numbers aren't getting friendlier.
No, the national average electric bill, it's climbing. They're projecting, what, around $178 a month this summer?
Something like that. But the averages hide the extremes.
Exactly. We've seen those posts, on Reddit, real families saying their bills jumped from maybe $200 to like $900 in 1 month.
Which is insane.
It is. That's not just an expense anymore. That's a full-blown crisis. It makes you wonder, am I being robbed? Is my house secretly mining Bitcoin?
Right. And it's not just some small line item. It's a huge chunk of the household budget. Utilities think housing, maintenance, and those bills, they eat up 34% of total household spending in the U.S.
34%.
Yeah. And here's the thing, the painful truth maybe that we need to face right off the bat. You can't control all of it.
Wait, what do you mean? I thought we were going to dive into all the, hacks and tricks.
We are. We definitely are. But we got to acknowledge the system we're playing in first.
Okay.
Look, if you live in Hawaii, your fuel costs are just way higher than someone in, say, New Mexico.
Before we slay, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and leave some love.
That baked-in cost affects your base rate.
Right. Location matters.
Hugely. And maybe more importantly, no matter how many lights you switch off, a slice of your bill is just fixed. Mandatory charges, things utilities call customer charges or infrastructure fees.
So you pay just for being hooked up, basically.
Exactly. So we have to mentally separate the costs we can control, the stuff we can hack, from those systemic costs that are just, the price of being connected to the grid today.
Okay, that's actually a really crucial distinction. It's like we're fighting a two-front war here.
Sort of, yeah. One against our habits and house leaks, one against the system itself.
Got it. Okay, so let's unpack this. This deep dive, then, it's about giving you the battle plan, right? Separating the quick, free win stuff you can do tonight from the bigger, long-term investments that need cash and planning.
Precisely. So you know exactly where to put your energy and your money to stop overpaying that controllable part of the bill.
Okay, where do we start?
We're going to move right from those $0 behavioral tweaks all the way up to major appliance upgrades and, crucially, the federal tax credits that can help pay for them.
All right, let's start at ground zero then. The immediate stuff, zero cost, the quick wins. These apply whether you're renting an apartment or own a huge house, right?
Absolutely. And the simplest trick, the one energy.gov always highlights, is the thermostat setback.
Ah, yes, the thermostat. Seems basic.
It is basic, but it's the low-hanging fruit with probably the single biggest return. Why? Because heating and cooling guzzle the most energy in most homes, sometimes up to like half your energy use.
Half? Wow. Okay, so what are the magic numbers?
For cooling, so summer, you want to aim for 78 degrees Fahrenheit when you're home and, moving around.
Okay, 78.
Then when you head out for work or when you're asleep, let it drift higher. Think 80, maybe 82 degrees.
Got it. And then flipping for winter.
Exactly. Set the heat to maybe 68 when you're home. And then when you're out or snuggled in bed, drop it significantly down to maybe 60 or 62 degrees.
Okay, it sounds simple, maybe a little chilly in winter, but how much does this discipline actually save us? Are we talking pennies or dollars?
We're talking real dollars. What's kind of fascinating here is just how consistently this works. If you make that setback, that 7 to 10 degree difference for just 8 hours a day.
Like overnight or while at work?
Right. You can save up to 10% on your total annual heating and cooling costs.
10% just from that?
Just from that. That's money straight back in your pocket. Didn't cost you a dime in new equipment.
Okay, that's compelling. So thermostat discipline first. What's next on the free list?
Next up, vampire loads.
Ugh, the phantom power drain. The silent killer sucking energy while you sleep. I gotta admit, I never really thought about my smart TV and standby just running up the bill 24/7.
It's kind of guilt-inducing physics, isn't it? These are all those devices left plugged in, your phone chargers, even when no phone is attached, your desktop
Real quick, hit subscribe, bell on, and let me know what you think.
monitors off but plugged in, game consoles and standby.
Waiting for that instant on.
Exactly. They're still drawing power, they're maintaining readiness or running tiny clocks or waiting for a remote signal. And in some U.S. homes, these phantom loads can actually account for 5, maybe even 10% of total electricity use.
Whoa, another 10% potentially. So if 10% of my bill is just keeping stuff ready to go, what's the fix? Besides running around unplugging everything, which feels, frankly, kind of tedious.
It can be. Look, the simplest is just unplugging, but yeah, tedious. A better intermediate solution, smart power strips.
How do those work?
Well, they're clever. They automatically cut power completely to devices that aren't actively being used or that drop below a certain power threshold, so that standby drain, it's just eliminated.
Okay, that sounds much more manageable. Let's make this real, though. We saw that case study, the Smith family down in Texas.
Right. Good example.
Their average summer bills were hitting $250. They put these simple habits into practice, adjusting the AC consistently. They swapped some bulbs for LEDs, and yeah, they started unplugging TVs and game consoles. What happened?
That they reported saving $80 a month.
$80. That's what, a 32% cut on the controllable part of their bill? Just from changing habits.
Yeah. It really moves the needle.
Okay, that's serious motivation.
It really is. It's proof that these free wins, these behavioral things, they're powerful. So, okay, once you've tackled the thermostat and unplugged the vampires, we shift gears slightly.
Where to?
We move from pure behavior to tackling structural losses. These are the DIY or maybe low-cost fixes that can offer just enormous return on investment.
Okay, before we get back to electricity, what about water? We hear about leaky faucets. Is a slow drip really a money sink, or is it just annoying?
No, it's serious money, especially because of sewer charges. Think about it. The national average water bill might be around $49 a month, give or take. But a single leaky toilet, one you might not even hear, it can waste over 10,000 gallons of water per year.
10,000 gallons?
Yeah.
From one toilet?
Yes. And here's the kicker. Often, your sewer charge is based on your water usage. So at massive water waste, it gets duplicated on your sewer bill, basically multiplying the cost.
Ugh, that's just unacceptable waste. Okay, so how does the average person, maybe a renter even, find this invisible toilet leak?
It's super simple. It's the dye test. The EPA promotes this during their Fix-A-Leak week sometimes.
Dye test.
Yeah, you just get some food coloring. Put a few drops in the toilet tank, not the bowl. Wait about 15 minutes. Don't flush. Then look in the bowl. If any bicolor has seeped into the bowl water, boom, silent leak.
And that's costing me money.
Potentially hundreds a year in unnecessary water and sewer charges, all fixed with maybe a $5 flapper valve replacement. A $2 box of food coloring finds the problem.
Okay, checking my toilet tank tonight. Next structural issue, air sealing. We get bombarded with ads for expensive new windows. Is replacing the whole window the first move?
Honestly, that's often a serious misallocation of funds, especially early on.
Really? Why?
Because most homes, particularly older ones, leak air like crazy around the existing window frames, door frames, places where pipes and wires enter the house.
The gaps, not the glass itself necessarily.
Exactly. Simple stuff like caulking around window and door frames, adding weather stripping. These things often have an ROI of less than 1 year.
Less than a year payback?
Yep. And going bigger, air sealing and properly insulating your attic or maybe crawl spaces and floors, that alone can save about 15% on heating and cooling costs. That's often a much better first step than dropping $15,000 on brand new window units. Seal the leaks first.
Seal first, replace later.
Got it.
What about stuff inside the house leaking energy? Like ancient appliances. My parents might still have a fridge from the 90s kicking around.
Oh, yeah. If you've got a refrigerator, especially one made before, say, the year 2000, it could easily be using 2, maybe even 3 times more energy than a new Energy Star model.
3 times?
Easily. It's basically a very inefficient, very stylish space heater that happens to keep your food cold.
Okay, so if you're wrestling with high bills and you have an appliance that old,
Replacing it with a high-efficient...
Subscribe now, tap the bell, and drop your thoughts in the comments.
Efficiency model has to be a serious contender for your next big purchase. The savings can be substantial month after month.
Okay, we've hit the free stuff, the low-cost DIY wins. Now we're graduating, right?
Yeah.
We're moving into the investment game.
Exactly. This is where we talk serious capital, but also serious returns. And crucially, how U.S. government incentives can dramatically change the math on whether these big ticket items make sense.
All right, what's the first big investment we should look at?
Well, the first one generating a lot of buzz, and for good reason, is the heat pump water heater, usually lit at an HPWH.
Heat pump water heater.
Okay. Right now, these are kind of the gold standard for efficiency. They can slash the energy used just for heating your water by 50, even up to 75% compared to those old-style electric resistance water heaters.
50 to 75% less energy for hot water. That sounds incredible, like a total no-brainer.
It sounds like it, doesn't it? 4 times more efficient in some cases.
So, wait. If the HPWH is that good, why is there so much debate online? We see user frustration, people complaining. What's the catch? What's the real trade-off here beyond just the upfront cost?
Yeah, that's the critical trade-off. It's how they work. HPWHs are so efficient because they don't just create heat with electricity like your old heater coil.
Right.
They work more like a refrigerator in reverse or an air conditioner. They pull existing heat from the surrounding air and transfer it into the water tank.
So they're moving heat, not making it from scratch.
Exactly. That heat transfer is super efficient. But it means they need space. They're often taller, wider than old tanks. They need ambient air to draw that heat from, so they can't be stuck in a tiny cold closet.
Okay, space requirements. What else?
They also dehumidify the air around them as they work, and that process creates condensation water, which needs to drain somewhere.
So potential dripping or needing a drain line.
Right. And maybe the biggest complaint for some, they can be noisy. Some people report they sound pretty much exactly like a loud refrigerator running constantly in their garage or basement.
Okay, so not silent?
Definitely not silent. So they're not a universal fit for every home or every location within the home.
Gotcha. So you save potentially a lot on the electric bill, but you might gain a noisy, damp spot in your utility room if you're not careful. Noted.
It's a balance. But the good news is, if you are ready to make that kind of investment or others, there's a federal tax credit goldmine available right now.
The Inflation Reduction Act goodies. IRS Form 5695, right?
That's the one. And this is critical information because, honestly, there's some urgency. Some of these credits are set to expire or change by the end of 2025.
Good point. Okay, so what's available?
There are basically 2 main lanes for homeowners. Lane 1 is let's call it the efficiency upgrade credit. You can claim a credit for 30% of the cost, capped at $1,200 per year for smaller improvements. Think insulation, energy-efficient doors, better windows, air sealing materials.
Okay, $1,200 back on those kinds of projects.
Annually, yeah. Then there's lane 2. This is for the big clean energy item.
Like the heat pump water heater we just talked about.
Exactly. Things like air source heat pumps for your whole house, HVAC, and those HPWHs, these have a separate additional annual credit. It's 30% of the cost, up to $2,000 per year.
Whoa, $2,000 in addition to the $1,200?
Correct. It's a separate limit for those major items. That's a huge incentive that really helps bring down the net cost of upgrading.
No kidding. What about solar?
Solar. And also things like battery storage for clean energy. That falls under a different but very robust 30% tax credit. And the key thing here, there's no maximum dollar limit on that 30% for solar and battery.
No limit.
No upper limit. And if the credit you earn is more than the tax you owe in 1 year, you can roll the unused portion over to the next tax year.
Wow. Okay, these tax credits really do change the financial picture. They can dramatically shorten the payback period on these big investments.
Absolutely. They make things like heat pumps and even solar potentially viable for middle-income households, not just the wealthy.
Good to know. And hey, if you're not quite ready for a full HPWH install, those mid-level investments still count, right? Like smart thermostats.
Oh, definitely. And fully switching over to LED bulbs everywhere, still highly effective. A smart thermostat alone, by learning your patterns and managing those setbacks automatically, can save the average home around $50 a year. Not bad for a relatively small investment.
Okay, so we've run the gamut here. Zero-cost habits, DIY fixes, 4-figure investments with tax credits. But we have to be real for a second.
Yeah.
This advice, especially the big investment stuff, it doesn't land the same for everyone, does it? We need to tailor this for, diverse situations across the U.S. Renters, low-income families.
You're absolutely right. That's critical. For low-income households where, honestly, the utility bill can become a choice between food or heat.
A life or death decision, literally.
Right. Those big investments, they're just not on the table. It's not viable. So we have to make sure people in that situation know about resources like LIHEAP.
That's the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program.
Yeah. It provides direct financial help to cover heating and cooling bills. It's essential support.
Okay, LIHEAP for bill payment help. What else?
Maybe even more powerful, long-term, is the Weatherization Assistance Program, WAP.
WAP. What does that do?
WAP actually pays for those essential efficiency upgrades for qualified low-income homes. Things like adding insulation, sealing air leaks, the stuff we talked about that saves money month after month. The program funds the work itself.
Wow. Okay, so actual physical improvements paid for? That's huge.
Yeah.
These programs exist to help folks avoid those impossible choices.
Exactly.
And what about renters? There are millions of renters who can't just, tear open walls or install a new water heater.
Right. For renters, the focus has to be almost exclusively on those low-cost, non-permanent fixes.
Things they can do without upsetting the landlord.
Precisely. Do the toilet dye test, tell your landlord if it fails. Swap out every single incandescent bulb for an LED if the landlord hasn't already. Get really aggressive with temporary weather stripping around windows and doors. Use those draft stoppers, those door snakes.
Yeah, those help.
And for apartment dwellers, especially in colder climates, applying that clear plastic window film in the winter, it's incredibly cheap, creates an insulating air gap, and peels off easily in the spring. It really works without damaging anything.
So it's about focusing on those temporary, high-impact, low-cost tactics.
That's what moves the needle for renters. They have fewer levers to pull, so they need to pull the right ones hard.
Okay. Before we wrap up, we really need to use this platform for a quick PSA. Debunk a myth that seems to constantly target people desperate about high bills.
Ah, you mean the magic box energy savers?
Exactly. Those plug-in devices, marketed under names like Stopwatt or Miracle Watt, you see the ads everywhere online.
Yeah, let's be crystal clear. Do not buy them.
Okay.
They have been debunked repeatedly by U.S. media fact-checkers, consumer protection groups, engineers, you name it. They promise massive savings just by plugging this little box into an outlet.
Sounds too good to be true.
Because it is. They do not save money on standard residential electric bills, period. They might contain components that do something called power factor correction, which can matter in large industrial settings, but for your house, it doesn't reduce the energy you actually consume and get billed for.
So they're basically scams.
They are scams preying on people's fear and anxiety about high bills. They target the financially vulnerable who are looking for an easy fix to an impossible expense. Don't fall for it.
Okay, solid warning. One last complexity to touch on. Time of use rates. TO.
Oh, yes. Increasingly common.
These are the plans where electricity costs different amounts at different times of day, right?
Yeah.
Cheaper late at night, more expensive in the afternoon.
Exactly. The utility tries to incentivize you to shift your high-energy tasks, running the dishwasher, doing laundry, maybe charging your electric vehicle to those off-peak hours, often after 9 p.m. or overnight.
It sounds logical.
Yeah.
Shift usage, save money.
But it raises a really important question. Does switching to a TOU plan always guarantee savings?
I sense a no coming.
Definitely no.
Yeah.
Not at all. Think about it. If your utility's peak rate, say from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., is 3 or 4 times higher than the off-peak rate,
Okay.
and you fail to shift your big energy use, maybe you forget, you run the AC hard during peak, you run the dishwasher right after dinner at 6 p.m., the resulting charge for that peak usage can be catastrophic.
Ouch.
We've seen reports from customers saying TOU rates actually cost them more money because they just couldn't change their family's schedule enough to avoid those high peak prices.
So it's not automatic savings.
Not even close. You absolutely must check your local utility's specific TOU rate structure. What are the peak hours? How much higher is the peak rate? And be honest with yourself about whether you can consistently shift your usage before opting in.
The utility wants you to change your habits. Make sure you actually can before you sign up for the plan that penalizes you if you don't.
Precisely. Crucial warning there.
Okay, that is a crucial warning. So let's try to wrap this all up. Let's summarize the strategy for anyone listening who wants to fight back against this utility monster bill.
Okay, the approach is kind of 3-tiered, right?
Yeah. Tier 1, start with the free stuff, the behavioral fixes. Get disciplined with that thermostat setback. Hunt down, unplug those phantom loads. Costs nothing but attention.
Right, Tier 2. Attack the leaks. Focus your DIY energy on air sealing caulk, weather stripping, maybe insulating the attic access, and do that water audit, the toilet dye test. These usually offer the fastest, highest immediate ROI for a little bit of effort or minimal costs.
Okay. Free habits, then low-cost leak sealing. Tier 3.
Tier 3 is the investment phase. Consider the bigger ticket items like major insulation projects, maybe a heat pump or an HPWH, potentially even solar. But, and this is key, only after you've really looked into and understand how to secure those federal tax credits to bring the net cost down significantly.
Makes sense. Don't leave government money on the table.
Never. Ultimately, knowledge is power here. Knowing where to focus your limited time and resources, that's the key.
We've talked about all the hacks, all the tech, the credits.
Right. But it's important for you, the listener, to remember what we said at the start. Even after all that, a chunk of your utility bill might just be those unavoidable fixed fees, systemic charges, the basic cost of admission to the modern grid.
Things that are difficult, maybe impossible to reduce just through your own conservation efforts.
Exactly. Sometimes the biggest battle isn't just against your own habits or leaky windows. It might be against the complex, sometimes baffling pricing structure of your local utility grid itself.
That is definitely a deep thought to chew on. So tell us, have you tried the toilet eye test yet? Did it pass or fail? What's your local utility's peak rate like? Is it crazy high? Share your own success stories or your local rate nightmares down in the comments below.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your experiences.
And hey, if you found this deep dive useful, please drop a like or maybe follow or subscribe so you catch our next analysis.